what I want to talk about today, other than, I guess, now trying to wow you, is integrated marketing. And the idea that the best integrated marketing isn't marketing at all. It's this understanding that bringing the right people, the right ideas, and the right things together actually create an integrated experience. And that is actually what this book is all about. And WTF, by the way, is exactly what you think it means. That's why it's right there on the cover. What a great hashtag, right? But look, in all reality, what's the future of business is an answer that each and every one of you has to answer for yourself, for the businesses that you work with. And I'm not going to talk about social media and the importance of Facebook and how amazing Pinterest is. Those are all tools. Those are technologies that we will figure out how to use. What I want to talk about is the idea of an integrated experience and how important it is. Recently I was asked what my prediction was for 2013 to be the most important technology that we would need to follow. What was the biggest trend on the horizon that I thought we all needed to pay attention to? And I'm going to share that with you here. Human beings. What does that even mean? That means that all of this technology that we've been gifted is an opportunity for us to better learn about the people that we're trying to reach. It's almost like that Undercover Boss show, which, by the way, I love, even though it has the same ending every single time. There's something that happens, this magical moment in every episode where whomever had to go through the rigmarole of being an employee or a customer is given the gift of empathy. And at the end of each episode, they're human again. And they say things like, I forgot what it was like to be an employee. I forgot what it was like to be a customer. Because you have to think a day in the life of whatever that executive is managing spreadsheets, reporting to shareholders and stakeholders, and it's not even a human language anymore. It's just an act of moving and reacting and managing. It's not even leading anymore. So what we're talking about is having access to some of the most amazing technology available ever to tell us more about human beings, what's important to them, and how we can be more relevant. But if you really think about it, we're putting all of this new stuff in the same existing programs and processes and methodologies and philosophies that we have within our organization today, and we're not really doing very much new at all. And that has to change, and that's why we're here together today. I believe that the real opportunity for each and every one of us is to exact the type of change within the organization that makes integrated marketing just a function of a better organization, a better mission. So one of the things that I've found in a lot of my research over the years is what I call the experience divide. There is your brand promise and how you market your brand. And then there are the experiences that people have with your brand and what they share. And I assure you, there is a gap between what you say and what people feel and share. But there doesn't have to be a gap. So with technology, we don't just have to measure sentiment, share of voice, what have you. We can start to measure shared experiences and the value and the impact that they have. One of the reviews of my book when it first came out will never be forgotten because of all the grades I could have earned for it, it was given a B. I said, B? It's my baby. How can you give it a B? I thought it was at least an A-. And they said, as an analyst, we expected Brian to produce more case studies and examples of what companies were doing about the future of shared experiences. And so in my Elon Musk style of engagement, I reached out to that reporter and challenged her. And I said something probably as charismatic as, "This book isn't for you then." And that's what this is about. I don't think you need another book or another presentation or another person or expert to tell you about the same companies you keep hearing about over and over and over again. I think what we need to do is just take a step back and think about what we're trying to do. The experience and the value that we're trying to deliver, the experience that they're having, our customers, our employees. There is no case study for that because it's unique to your organization. It's unique to the culture of how you work with other people within the company, where your frustrations are, where your challenges are, where your opportunities are. This is about leadership. This is not about following. This is about setting the bar for other people to follow. What ends up happening when you start to pay attention to the very people that you're trying to reach, you start to become the very people that you're trying to reach, and you realize when we talk about market segmentation or customer profiling or customer segmentation, it's not just a matter of behaviors, right? It's not just a matter of demographics or psychographics. It's actually a whole different group of people and how they make decisions and how you reach them, how you influence them, how they're influenced, how they influence others. And you realize that the way that you sell yourself, the way that you market, the channels that you use to market are all, by design, delivering the opposite of integrated experiences. Because the web team is responsible for this, the social team is responsible for that, communications is responsible for this, and no one will give you the same answer about what that customer experience is supposed to be, or even what these guys are doing over there, or what those guys are doing over there. This is about connecting to the connected customer, to look at integration as a series of technologies, not as the answer, but as an enabler for you to do what you're trying to do at a bigger level. It's not just about social, right? It's not just about mobile. It's not just about big data. It's about everything. All of this is having an impact on you and me as individuals. This is why I'm not just an analyst who studies disruptive technology. That's what I do for a living. I write reports about it. But on nights and weekends, I'm an aspiring digital anthropologist. I study this stuff's impact on society and culture. Because what you realize is that while we might not be changing, like in a Darwinian sort of way, we are changing how we make decisions. We are changing where we go for information or how we get information. And when you can bring this together, you start to realize that technology, tools, channels, networks, apps, they can facilitate something more meaningful. Because this person I seem to get behind at the airport security line every single time, by the way, and they always forget that there's one more device and it has to go back through the scanner one more time. But in all seriousness, we're just connected. We are connected more and more each day. This week, Apple had a lot of their big announcements. There's always new announcements. People are walking around wearing Google Glass, filming people. It is now a lifestyle. Right? One of the best images I had seen recently was the induction of the Pope. I think, what was it, 10 years ago when the last Pope was inducted? And they showed the picture of everybody in the Vatican Square. And 10 years ago, everybody's looking at the Pope. And 10 years later, everybody's vining the Pope, or twit-picking the Pope, or Instagramming the Pope. And it kind of looks like this. And so what ends up happening, though, is that that customer is different. They see the world differently. They are sharing experiences as they happen. And when experiences become the center of everything, you are either designing them or you're reacting to them. And I want you to think about that for a minute, because I would argue, that I think we're reacting to experiences rather than creating them. I'll give you an example. When businesses got on Twitter and when businesses got on Facebook, one of the first things that they started to do was respond to customer complaints. And then they had to create departments for that. And then they had to create new metrics and get new budgets and get technology to sort of facilitate and manage all of this. But why spend all of our time and money on just reacting to the experiences that people are having when we could define the experience we want people to have and share through positive conditioning, positive reinforcement? The idea of even answering the question, what experience do you want people to have and share? And then how do we design the rest of the integrated strategies to enliven that? This is about Generation C, a connected customer, not a millennial, not a teen or preteen, although they're part of Generation C, trust me. It is this idea that we all behave the same way because we live a connected lifestyle, a digital lifestyle. It is for them that we design these shared experiences, but it's for all of your customers. The better you learn about them, the better it is for everybody. Because no matter what we think about this picture, we're not going to change it. It seems absurd that all of these well-dressed young people are standing around probably talking about how amazing of a time they're having. It certainly looks like it. And at the same time, we could laugh, and then we could also say, well, something's engaging them. And what is it that we can do to stay relevant and engaging to them? Because something happens as you become connected. You become more informed, right? You know when there's an earthquake in the world within 20 seconds of it happening because it shows up in your stream. I think when I hit Twitter this morning, I saw that Kanye West said he was the new Steve Jobs. Brilliant. I'm more informed. But as you start to become more informed, you start to become more empowered. And as you become more empowered, whether you know it or not, you start to become more demanding. And as you become more demanding, you start to think about personalization. You start to expect personalization. You start to expect quicker responses. You start to expect the right kinds of information, the right kinds of people to find you. So all of this talk about what we can do with the future of social, mobile, real-time, big data, none of it matters if you actually don't care about creating meaningful and shareable experiences. It has to start with a much more human, a much more empathetic approach. To me, this is actually the beginning of a new era of marketing that becomes meaningful. No one likes to get marketed to. No one likes to get sold. But people do love an amazing story. People do like to be immersed or carried away to a different time, a different land, a different place. These are the opportunities that we're given. So big data, analytics, research, these are all words that really start to take away what I just talked about. They're important. We need it. But I'm talking about what I call the human algorithm. This is this intersection between data science and digital anthropology. Understanding Generation C is the opportunity that I think we have to have. Because when you look at a picture of people sort of texting and tweeting and Facebooking around each other, or you look at a society that's infatuated with posting selfies on Instagram, this is a different time. The new customer is wired differently than you and me. And why does this matter? Because we are all in this room today, right now, because of the collection of our experiences, both personally and professionally. That's what got us here. It's what got you in the job that you have now. It's what's going to get you to wherever you go next. Those life experiences that we have, though, are exactly what we bring to decision making for our strategies. Whether it's for integrated marketing or components of it, we're bringing that experience to those strategies, to those ideas. And I would argue that we might actually be working against ourselves without understanding Generation C and making decisions that are informed based on how Generation C sees the world. So I had found this wonderful video on YouTube. You've probably seen it. It's a 1-year-old girl who has an iPad. And she can naturally and intuitively use this thing, pinching and zooming and swiping. So her dad thought it would be hilarious if he gave her a magazine. Doesn't work, right? Gets frustrated, throws it away, gives her the iPad back. She's happy. And when I saw this, of course I thought it was cute, and I forwarded it to everybody I knew. But it touched me a little bit differently, and it was inspiring in a way that I think should inspire you too. And that is, regardless of age, this person sees the world this way. I'm old enough to remember what it was like to have to turn the knob on a television to change channels. I've had to learn about every technology, every iteration as it's come along. I've had to learn how to become digital. I was born into an analog world. Her father sums it up by saying that for her, a magazine is an iPad that doesn't work. He's right. And if you think about it, what that means is that she is going to actually have to learn about how to use a magazine. She's digital first. Generation C is digital first. So when we're making decisions from an analog standpoint, we're already missing an opportunity for how they see the world differently. For example, websites. We want to make websites mobile, so we get technology that ports it down to a smaller screen. For whether it's an iPhone or an Android, whether it's a tablet, whatever it is, we're porting websites to new devices that are, by design, not even intuitive to the nature of the device itself. It's still a website. And websites, for all intents and purposes, still suck. They say things, they market at you, they don't speak to you, they don't grab you, they don't help you along the way, most of the time. Some are really great. But a case in point, when's the last time you've been to a fantastic restaurant website where you just wanted to look at the menu and found it easily? Very difficult to do still. This is a Razorfish study that's old. I think it's about 2 or 3 years old, but I find it fascinating in the lessons that it teaches. It's called the Liminal Report. You can still find it online to download. It's how Razorfish worked with Virgin America to figure out how to build an airline and then how to sell it. And they had found these 6 unique traits that their customers were looking for. They wanted to be valued. They wanted an efficient engagement. If I go to the site, if I talk to an employee, whatever, it has to be efficient, it has to be quick. I want to trust you. I want consistency across all channels and communications. I want relevance, and I want to have a sense of control in how I interact with you. People are willing to share data with you. People are willing to give you access to everything that we probably held private growing up if they know that there's value in the exchange. So this is an opportunity to deliver value while getting smarter. This is also an opportunity to rethink how we're designed within the organization today, who we work with, who we don't work with, and to realize that integrated marketing means integrated experiences. So how businesses are structured today around the funnel, right? Awareness, decision, action, loyalty. By default, those are all different departments with different reporting mechanisms, with different results, different metrics. So in the new book, I introduced the concept of not a new funnel. I call this one the cluster funnel. And it's a mockery of the way that we sort of underestimate customers. You know, at the beginning, it's not awareness, it's about the persuasion. I'm trying to convince you that I'm amazing and you should give me your money. And I find a way to hook you into that funnel. And once I do, we have a transaction. And then there's the distance. I don't need you. But then there's a re-enchantment, because I do need you again. I have a new product, I have a new service, I have a cross-sell, upsell, whatever. And then I put you into the governance, which is essentially CRM. Something most of the time that's so old and broken that most people don't have access to it. Those that do have access to it don't know what to do with it. It's very limited in terms of its functionality, and it's often held together with duct tape. Decision making, we all used to know it by just the different media, the different channels, the different resources that we had. And decision making now, we sort of see it at all these new channels: Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, Google+, what have you. But it's bigger than that. I think the real opportunity is to see the reality of the new customer journey. This is based on research. It's not supposed to be a replacement for the funnel, but it is just a representation of how people make decisions. This is a simplified version. But pay attention to the center, where it says the influence loop. That's another way of saying shared experiences. So when people are going through the decision-making process, they're either taking away shared experiences to know what to do next, or they're contributing shared experiences to help other people know what to do next. This is important, and this is why social science comes into play here, because what we're talking about is digital ethnography. When you start to map customer behavior, you start to learn what networks are important to them, what channels, what apps, what communities, what questions do they keep asking over and over and over, what answers do they find or get. This is a different era. And if we are not designing shared experiences, we're going to be reacting to them. And it is these shared experiences that are guiding people through, with or without our knowledge. Every market is based on these experiences. This is not new. Word of mouth has always been around. What's different is that these experiences are put on the Yelps of the world, communities, review sites, blogs, YouTube videos. And they're not like Snapchat. They don't just self-destruct. They keep building and building, getting bigger, more informative, more influential, until at some point, those shared experiences are organically louder and more discoverable than anything you can SEO your way around. And that's a big deal. That's why the future of branding comes down to moments of truth, 4 moments of truth. You've probably heard of Google's 0 moment of truth. We'll talk about that. But I want you to think about your integrated marketing strategy around these moments of truth. And I'll walk you through them real quick. Most businesses are just simply unaware of what their cross-channel experience looks like. Whether it works, whether it doesn't work, where it works, where it doesn't work, how to make it better. So the first moment of truth is the 0 moment of truth. And this is what Google sort of coined. In fact, you could download their ebook for free at zeromomentoftruth.com. Why is this important? Because Google says when you are aware of something, you're probably going to Google it. And when you do, what comes back? When you type in questions, when you type in keywords, what you're looking for, what comes back are usually websites. And they're optimized. Whatever's on that first, second, third page has been paid to be there. But what happens if you're a connected customer and you see the world through a different lens? You're probably not going to go to Google first, right? Because websites aren't the best thing to experience on a site. How many of you have gone to YouTube to learn how to use a product instead of reading the manual? Yeah, look at that. Almost everybody. Because it's easier. Because it tells you information in a way that's easier to just take and understand. And most of the time, you'll find a video produced by somebody that's not even a member of the business. I just did this with the Vitamix blender. I had to join that whole community or that church of Vitamix blender owners. I couldn't figure it out why the Vitamix blender was so expensive, because I'm a dude and I just don't get blenders, whatever that is. But now I am a master chef of making my own flour and soups and everything that was informed by my research on YouTube. Not only did I learn the value proposition of that blender and why it was so expensive, but I learned how to use that thing, and I use that all the time now. It's cathartic. I just love it. But It was a different process to get there. I didn't Google anything. And thank goodness Google owns YouTube. And the stat is that between Google and YouTube, you satisfy 95% of initial searches in that 0 moment of truth. People go to watch videos, people create videos because they can, and because they're more readily discoverable. So if you think about that 0 moment of truth for your business today and you go to YouTube, what comes back? And are they the things that you want to come back? I know a company that is freaking out right now because they're not able to get the prospects, their employee prospects that they want. They're really going after an educated, professional millennial. And they had found out that the first place that their candidates were going to was YouTube to learn more about the business. And everything that comes back on the first couple of pages on YouTube are videos about how that company is horrible. So naturally, they just move on. So I said, let's hypothetically see, though, talking about integrated marketing, let's hypothetically see what happens if the videos were amazing. Well, where do I go next? Oh, well, we have a job rec page on our site. All right, well, let's go there. What job are we trying to fill right now? Okay, well, this one. Take me to the site. All right, where's that job on this page? Oh, well, you have to put in the rec number into the box. Oh, all right, let's put that rec number in the box. What comes back is probably the single worst UX experience I've ever seen. So even if the videos were great, the integrated experience wasn't integrated. It's broken. And it wouldn't even load on the smartphone, and you couldn't get through the forms on a tablet. So what are we really trying to do? The 0 moment of truth is just that. It's called a moment of truth for a reason. And so what comes back in YouTube? What comes back on a review site? What comes back on a blog search? Or what comes back in all of the thousands of forums that are probably existing around your business or market today? All of those things that come back in the 0 moment of truth are largely undefined by you. You're letting your market do it for you, and that's either working for you or it's not working for you, because we're spending most of our time on push marketing still, even with new social and mobile opportunities. We're still pushing and broadcasting at people. So when I talk about positive reinforcement or positive conditioning, I'm talking about first define what experience you want people to have, and then start to work with customers to produce whatever's necessary in all of these channels so that those experiences are discoverable in the 0 moment of truth. Because we have access to so much information now that we use them as we do research. We don't just go to one place. Studies show that every year the amount of touch points that we use to make a decision doubles. It's up to 10 as of 2011. I'm still waiting for 2012 numbers, but it's supposed to double. Why does it keep doubling? Because there's so many places to go to get information. Do you even know what those touch points are for your organization? In the moment of truth, we're probably using the traditional channels that we think people are using, when in fact you actually learn so much more. When you study keyword anthropology, you start to see that the same 15 questions keep coming up over and over and over again. And when people plop that question into Google or into YouTube, it's very interesting to see what does and what doesn't come back. You guys probably have heard of the first moment of truth or the second moment of truth. This is age-old. This is Procter & Gamble speak. This is, I think they're the ones who coined these. The first moment of truth is when you're about to make a decision to buy something. And I don't care if it's business to business or business to consumer. You are still open to temptation. Right? This is why Procter & Gamble has a department all around the first moment of truth. That's why there's science and strategy around box design and coupons and placement on shelves, because they know you could be tempted by something, another offer, a different sale, something that looks as good but is less expensive. So they're finding ways to bring you through that first moment of truth. You have to design those shared experiences to pull people through, because this is the most important part. The last moment of truth is what I call the ultimate moment of truth. When somebody is your customer, they share an experience. When somebody has a problem with your business, they share that experience. When somebody loves your business, they share that experience. Shared experiences happen throughout the customer life cycle because they can. And also by sharing those shared experiences, it's also cathartic as well. People will say that it makes them feel good when they're happy and they share something. It makes them feel good when they're unhappy and they share something. But why does this matter? Because what is shared, the ultimate moment of truth, becomes the next person's zero moment of truth. And that is integrated marketing. Designing around these moments of truth tell you everything. In the ultimate moment of truth, people are either sharing bad things about you or good things. By the way, it's easier to share bad things because we're human nature. So positive conditioning focuses on getting people to share the good things more often so that they shout the negative things. This is a service called Grooble that sort of measures negative sentiment and who has the brunt of it at any one moment. And I thought it would be fun to look at the experience divide. At the top of that list was Time Warner. No affiliation, I didn't stage this, it just happened to be at the time the company that was at the top of the list. So I looked at what people were saying on Twitter and in the real-time web, and I took that and just fed it into Wordle, a free word cloud generator that takes the most often used words and makes them bigger. Brilliant. But as you can see, there's some choice language up there. One of my favorites was WTF. So I said, well, wait a minute. This could either be very bad for them, or it could be the result of brilliant integrated marketing. Maybe this is how the business is marketing itself. So I better go to their website and run that through the word cloud generator. Oh, nope, not at all the same. They talk about service and community and customers and people and innovation and support, and you say, yeah, no. That's what you say. So when you start to look at this, right, this is a problem. Customers are expressing essentially discontent, that they have a reluctant relationship with the company. And who wants to have a reluctant relationship with anybody? These shared experiences are probably going unnoticed and probably being dealt with in terms of process and service and support. And you can't really address those things when you're not trying to address the bigger issue at large. But what happens, right? Those negative experiences start to have an impact on your business. You start to lose revenue. You start to have to spend more on customer acquisition because your retention is horrible. Retention is the new acquisition, and acquisition is a new acquisition. But customers aren't going to stay if they don't feel like they need to or that there's value there. And that's part of our job. If there isn't an experience to align with, then how can we expect anybody to stay? You know, people are willing to pay up to 15% more for a similar product if they believe they're going to get a good experience out of it. There is absolutely no good reason I should have to pay what I paid for my MacBook Pro other than I know I'm going to get a good experience and a sweet looking box. But the reality is I do that because I know I'm not going to have to deal with a lot of IT issues or a lot of other issues that I used to have to deal with when I was on the PC platform. I paid more because I knew I wanted a better experience. You do the same thing. We are all customers. We aren't just marketers. And what we're trying to do is address issues that the organization today doesn't necessarily think exist. They don't see things as being broken, and we're trying to fix these things. So that experience divide has to happen. This is an example from a company, from Vail Resorts, which that looks pretty awesome and would love to be there right now, but I'm not. They set out to use technology in a different way. In fact, they created customer relationship marketing instead of customer relationship management. And this new role within the organization is designed to take data and figure out a way to bring to life their tagline, which I don't know if you can read, but it says, experience of a lifetime. They even use the word experience. So they're using SaaS to figure out, number one, what experience are people having? And if they're not having the experience that we want people to have, that we've defined, that we've set in our brand promise, how do we bring that to life? How do we change that? And so their business doesn't just give them a 360 view of their customer. Their business, their strategy is bringing together disparate groups who just didn't work together before, where they can share these insights across the board and create one group dedicated to customer experiences so that it's not just about integrated marketing and integrated service, it's just integrated. When I was writing my book, I studied user experience for a long time. In fact, I did that longer than I spent writing the book. And why did I do that? Because first, I needed to believe what I was talking about. Two, why would I write another business book that looks like every other business book? Same little rectangle, same paper, same font, same tiny text. Who even reads 400 pages like that anymore? I know I don't. I can't. And I'm sitting there cranking these books out. But when you start to study user experience, you start to realize how people consume information, how long they can sit on something, what their eyeballs light up to, what turns on their heart, what makes them share something. And you start to see the way you talked, the way you presented information, the way you created content, the way that you design things isn't actually optimized for what you want people to feel, do, and share. That's what Vail's doing. That's what smarter businesses are doing, because the future of this is about not customer centricity, but true engagement, where people feel what you want them to feel, and people share what they want, what you want them to share. I know that slides and PowerPoints are like the most amazing way to spend an afternoon, but I'm going to start wrapping up, and I'm going to introduce something to you that I hope you take further than I took it. I'm not trying to introduce a new derivative on ROI, because everything needs to have a return. It's just the way of the world. But what I would like you to consider is that experience gap. What experience are people having and sharing? And how can you fix that? And how can you work with the rest of the organization, everybody who's responsible for reinforcing that experience, so that you're all working together and integrated, right? There are a million customer metrics that businesses are using. One of the more popular ones is Net Promoter Score. A lot of businesses that I go to talk about their Net Promoter Score, whether it's up, whether it's down, that it's a goal, it's an objective to improve their NPS next year. All great. I'm not going to go into NPS, but it's pretty much about, would you refer us to someone? Kind of based on the premise of what NPS is. But I actually believe your real value and how you improve your business, product, services starts with purpose, starts with intention, right? It's actually based on what people are saying in between these surveys. And they're saying it everywhere. It's all online for everybody to find. It's not about would you, it's about did you. Did you recommend us, or did you not recommend us? And when you look at conversations across the social web, across the mobile web, all of those communities, all those review sites, all of those apps, you can see firsthand, are they recommending you or are they not recommending you? That is your new Net Promoter Score. Because the future of your business, the future of your brand, isn't just created. It is co-created, whether you like it or not. There's what you say, and as we saw in that Time Warner example, there's what they say. And they are getting louder than you. No matter how clever your marketing is, no matter how creative it is still open to co-creation. And that's an opportunity. A recommendation is more important than a like. It just is. So those metrics don't matter. What matters is shared experience value. What people are sharing and how well that aligns with the experience you want people to have and people to share. They're either advocating for you or they're your worst critic. What's in the middle doesn't even matter. You want everybody to be an advocate. And to be an advocate, I'm talking much more than loyalty programs. I'm talking about making someone feel so good about being your customer or being aligned with your business that being an advocate is just a way of business. They just can't help it. much in the same way that people are fans of Virgin brands or Apple or Zappos. That's just a function of their business reality. So the future is not about CRM. It has nothing to do with customer centricity. It has to do with the role that you play in customer journey management, right? Understanding the journey that your customer goes through, understanding where there are opportunities, where there are strengths and weaknesses, where they even go, what they say, what they share, and mapping that to your own journey so you can better understand how to lead people in the direction that optimizes every moment of truth. Ford's Fusion, Random Acts of Fusion, I believe is what it's called, campaign is a good example of positive conditioning, where they're going out and featuring and rewarding people who say interesting and good things about the Ford Fusion. And those things show up in the moments of truth. And when you look at who people trust, they will tell you that it's not executives. So all of those people in this room trying to get your executives to tweet, maybe you should press pause on that. They trust people like themselves. And that's why shared experiences are important. Think about it. That's what comes back in YouTube. That's what comes back in all these review sites. So what you're doing is not just managing the journey, you're actually becoming the hero in Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. I use that as a metaphor in the book, where you're mapping this journey of where people are going to go through, where they're going to have challenges, where they're going to have opportunities, where they can become the hero, or where you can become the hero. And this is going to create a whole new set of products and services. It's going to make you rethink your vision statement. It's going to make you rethink why you're using all of this technology in the first place. This, by the way, is a funny image. It's how computers are born. Why am I using this? Well, first, it's cute and funny, but really, what I want you to think about is the power of shared experiences in a connected economy where shared experiences are a currency. You now have to think from the born digital standpoint. Digital first. What would you do differently instead of taking that analog approach? Which means that how you do things today are open to disruption. Some of them can be, some of your processes, some of your policies, some of your philosophies can literally be shredded. This is how important this is now, how personal it is now, how human it is now. A lot of this stuff takes you to not just create integrated marketing initiatives, but to actually go back a step and say, why would we want anyone to engage with us across any one of these channels? Why would anybody want to be aligned with us? Why would anybody want to be a fan? This is what it's all about. And yes, it's intentionally blank. AV's back there going, what happened? Comes back to that book, Getting a B grade. This is a blank slate. What you do from here forward takes you, and only you, meaning that you can't best practice your way out of this right now. You can't find a top 10 article or an infographic that solves your problem. This is your canvas to paint. This is why I think being in marketing right now is one of the most exciting and important times ever. You have a chance to actually reinvent business, the way a business even does business, the way a business works, the way a customer feels. It's all coming down to you. We get to create a company that goes back to older value systems when people mattered in the equation, and that's what this technology is allowing us to do. It's allowing us to be more human. It's allowing us to care again. It's allowing us to make people feel like they belong to something that doesn't just give them a customer identification number, but gives them a sense of meaning or a sense of purpose or a foundation for self-expression. Innovation begins not just with your mind, but with your heart. It's emotional. Experiences are always emotional. The more emotional they are, they're either going to be horrible or they're going to be fantastic. And that's yours to define. And that is why this is an exciting time to be in business. And by the way, that's what inspires me, is what you're going to be able to do. And look, it's going to be frustrating. Don't get me wrong. I live in a world of change management. I go inside of organizations and I get involved in the politics and the drama and the backstabbing and all of the traditional corporate culture things, because change takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of passion. But persistence will always outweigh resistance. And I ask you to not just be a marketer, but to be the person who's going to be responsible for bringing out that change within your company. So that integrated marketing is just actually a function of the bigger mission that you're trying to do, which is to make your business not only matter, but your business create the types of experiences that people want to have, and more importantly, the experiences that you want people to share. So I do believe that not only is this a great time to be in marketing, I believe wholeheartedly that this is also your time. Thank you.